Hello everybody. Today I've got another wolf skull. However, this one, the guy that brought it to me said he shot it in the head. You can see this side's a little bit bulged up and bruised. So he's hoping that I can clean it up and glue the pieces back together. He's hoping that at the end of it will be the wolf skull and you'll be able to see the bullet hole through the skull. Is kind of what he was hoping I could be able to do with it. So we're gonna get this thing cleaned up and see what we're working with. Whenever you're working with a skull that's been shot, you got to be careful because there's going to be a lot of sharp, jagged bones in there, and you don't want to get yourself cut on some of these bones. You also want to be careful when you're cleaning it up that you're not actually cutting pieces of the bone away that you're going to need afterwards to put it together. So if you're unsure at any point, it's better just leave it, let the beetles clean it up and pick the pieces out after, rather than cutting something off you think is a big chunk of meat and there ends up being a big piece of bone in there that you end up needing at the end of it. So this side here I can feel is pretty mushy. That's where he hit it. He said he got it right kind of in the eye here. So I'm probably not going to take too much off of that side at all. I'll just let the beetles do the work, and it's pretty mushy back there too. Let them do most of the work on this one. It'll take them a little longer to clean it up, but it's better than losing pieces. And sometimes those pieces you lose are fairly critical. So you can still pull some of this stuff off in the areas where you know there's no damage. So it still helps speed it up a bit, but better to be safe than sorry a lot of times. So still get this tongue out of there because that's a huge piece of meat that saves a lot of time and smell if you can get rid of it quick. Bottom of the jaw there. Clean up this one eye. The other eye I'm going to leave because that's where he said he hit it, was right there. You can kind of see right here most of the damage, so I don't want to risk losing any pieces of bone. So I'll take this one out. I'm going to leave the other one. Here. That's probably all I'm going to do with this one, honestly. Yeah, this whole back part here is all, as you can see, very loose. Hoping most of those parts are fairly big, so there's less gluing to do, but yeah, at this point, I'm going to stick them in the beetles. I'll let them start doing their magic on it, and come back and look at the puzzle pieces in a day or so. So I got the wolf down in the beetle tank. Anytime I'm cleaning skulls that have been shot or potentially damaged, I always put them inside something like this. So all the little pieces will get caught in here. The beetles can still climb up the side or through the mesh, but all the bones will stay in there, so I won't lose any. So I'm just going to cover this guy up. Cloth. A lot of times I'll put a cloth over the edge like that. Sometimes helps the beetles climb up into it. So we'll give that a day or so, and we'll see how it looks. Alright, let's take a look, see how these beetles did. Yeah, it's looking really good. Still quite a bit of meat on there. We left a big chunk, but it's looking really good so far. You can see all of them down in there right now. We'll flip this guy over and cover that back up, and then hopefully they'll have that cleaned up by the end of the day. Alright, let's take a look. That's pretty good. Cleaned up most of the stuff off of that, so the damage is fairly minimal. Like, it's obviously a big chunk there, but the pieces look pretty big, so shouldn't be too difficult to glue back together. So at this point I'm just going to put them up on the rack here. Kind of like this, and give those beetles an opportunity to, there you go, give those beetles an opportunity to come off of that skull, and yeah, and after that we'll start the degreasing process. Alright, giving the beetles a chance to come off this skull now, so I've gathered up as many of the little pieces as I can, and we're going to start the degreasing and whitening process. So first thing we're going to do is give this guy a healthy coating of Dawn dish soap. That's going to really help pull all the grease and oil out of the skull. Wolves are particularly bad, I find, for being very greasy, oily skulls, so give that guy lots of Dawn dish soap. And then I'm going to add a little bit of peroxide into it as well. It'll just help start whitening it. As well, it helps break up some of the stuff that might still be on that skull. So after that, we're going to take some boiled water. We're going to totally submerge this skull. Probably need a couple kettles worth, but we'll get that guy totally submerged and then leave him for a bit, and that'll get it degreased and starting white. Just switching out the water on this wolf that got shot here, and you can see just how dark this is. That's a lot of times when you get an animal that's been shot in the head, you're going to find a lot of that extra blood and stuff in the skull. So it's going to take a little bit more effort to get that looking white. So it's probably going to take quite a few water changes. So I was halfway through it, and I thought I'd just show you guys that's something to expect with headshot animals, is a lot of that darker coloring in there. So just switching out, put a bunch more Dawn dish soap in there. I'll put some more peroxide in there and just keep letting this thing soak. Just doing another water change on this wolf. You can see he's starting to lighten up a little bit, but there's still a lot of degreasing to go on this guy. So don't rush it, take your time and do it right. Alright, this guy's been degreasing for quite a while. As you can see, he's looking pretty good. A little bit more degreasing is going to be necessary at the end, but in the meantime, I'm going to put a bit of peroxide on this guy, start the whitening process. I find some of the times this peroxide helps break down some of that grease that's in there too. So I'm going to start with this, just with the paintbrush. I'm going to paint that peroxide all over the whole entire skull. Make sure you get it into every little nook and cranny. All over the whole entire thing. So we're going to put this on here, let this sit for a little bit, and then probably put it back in another container with some more boiling water. And it'll be that peroxide water again, which is going to help whiten it, and some more Dawn dish soap in there too will help break down even more of that grease. Jaw. Same thing, you can tell there's still more degreasing to be needed, but and sometimes putting this peroxide on there helps. Okay, we are finally at the point where I can start putting this thing back together. So I think most of the pieces are fairly obvious where they go, for the most part. So I'm gonna try my best to piece this thing back together. If you've watched some of my other videos about shot skulls, you'll know they're never perfect. You can only do what you can do with them. Things expand and crack and blow apart when they're shot, so you just do the best you can with it. Try and fit it together as good as it'll go. So I'm just trying to figure out which order to put things back in place. So for this, I'm just using super glue. Hopefully I won't have a repeat of the issues I had with the moose. So gluing skulls together is a lot of this. You just kind of get things in position and hold it and wait until things dry. So super glue dries pretty quick, so it's not too bad normally, but make sure if you're going to be gluing skulls together, you've got lots of time and patience, because there's a lot of just sitting around holding things, waiting for them to dry so they don't fall apart. So probably what I'm going to do with this guy is get it kind of glued in place with the super glue initially, and then because there's so much of the skull missing, I can kind of get inside it. I'll put some more glue inside to just help reinforce some of these joints a little bit better. But for the initial part, we'll just use the super glue. Luckily, this eyepiece, there's enough of it left that it'll actually connect back here. I'll show you once it's dry a bit better, but it'll kind of help support some of this part back here, which is nice. So I think this piece goes down here. It's helpful to have skulls from other animals while you're doing things like this. You can compare it to another skull that's not blown apart if you're not entirely sure where a piece might go. Like this piece, I actually have no idea where this goes. It might fit right there. Yes, it does. You can see it's not going to fit spectacularly well because it's all blown apart and stretched out, so I'm going to have to try and fit it in as best I can. Just get it to kind of stay in place. Trying to figure out my game plan for the next couple pieces. I can glue that one while I'm waiting because it's kind of just sitting there. That piece up top there really just doesn't want to sit nice. But Probably about like that's good as it's gonna get. It's just everything's all stretched out and cracked and blown up, and nothing wants to sit the way it's supposed to. There, we'll leave that for now. Oops, this guy fell off. You want to stay there. There you go. Okay, as for this piece, I'm not entirely sure where it goes. This piece is down underneath. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it back on, honestly. Same with this one. I'm not entirely sure where that one goes either. So at this point, I'm just going to let this stuff dry and kind of sit in place where it's supposed to be, and then I'm going to kind of be able to turn it around a little bit better and try and figure out where these last pieces go. Yeah, so we'll come back in a couple of minutes when this thing's dry. Okay, let's see. Let's take this clamp off. See, yes, everything's sitting where I want it to be. Perfect. So at this point, I'm not entirely sure where all those other pieces go. I kind of looked and tried to compare. My guess is somewhere's in this abyss of parts that are blown off, or in here where the bullet hit. They're supposed to be in there somewheres, but I don't think I have enough around them to figure out exactly where they sit. So unfortunately, that's about as good as I'm going to be able to get this together. So still pretty good. Like when you look at this half, it's mostly intact, and this half where the bullet hit it in the head is blown up. So I think it gets the effect that he was looking for of having the skull where you can see where the bullet went. So at this point, I'm going to try and reinforce it. So I've got a tube of PL Premium that got messed up, so it's perfect for this. So what I'm going to do is take this on the inside of the skull here, and where those joints are, I'm just going to smear it inside there, and that way at least it's inside the skull. Every time I turn around, I see another piece that needs glue. Hopefully, this is the last piece. There, I think that's it finally. Hopefully, maybe. At this point, I'm going to let this dry and then take a look and see if it looks. Might need, depending on how that super glue dries, sometimes it has kind of a white filmy on it. I might touch it up with a little bit of paint just to blend it in a little bit better. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how that is looking. Alright, I've given this guy a chance to dry, so hopefully some of the pieces fall off. But you can see there's that hole where that bullet went through. That's what it should look like on that side there, and there's a pretty significant looking hole. And you can see on the side there, there's our glue on the inside to try and hold everything together. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to touch up that glue with some white paint just to blend it in a little bit better. It looks decent from the outside here, but I'm just going to touch it up inside there just so that it really looks good and you can't see that glue. Paint that I'm using when I'm painting that glue, it's not a pure white, it's called cream. It's just a slightly off white. It's closer to a natural bone color, I find. So I like the look of it a little bit better. It looks a little bit more natural color. It doesn't look like this bright, shiny, glossy white, which bone isn't. So all I'm doing is just giving this a light coating inside so that if you happen to be looking inside one of the big gigantic bullet holes that are in this skull, you're not seeing a bunch of random gray inside there, which kind of takes away from the skull. So most likely that's not going to be a major concern, but I don't want it to be a concern at all. So just give that glue a light coating of that paint, and it just blends it in a little bit better, and just overall look like a better product in the end here. So okay, I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll take a look at it. While I'm letting that paint inside there dry, I'm just gonna take some really fine grit sandpaper and just lightly sand all those seams that I glued here. That super glue a lot of times will kind of, as it dries, it makes sort of a white crusty film. So all I'm doing is just sanding that down. Like you can kind of see right here on that seam, there's sort of a white raised, I don't know what you'd even call it, a film, I guess, where that glue kind of squeezed through. So just take that sandpaper, go over it, sand it down. Just makes the seams look a little more finished off. So, on the top here, there was lots, because I put lots of glue where that piece wasn't wanting to sit nice for us. So just smooths it out, gets rid of that weird glue kind of residue, and makes it look a little bit nicer. So there you go. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do with this skull is give it a real light coat of matte clear coat. A lot of times with these shot skulls, there's especially right around the impact of the bullet, like right in here, there's a lot of loose little bits. And I find that clear coat kind of helps hold some of those bits together. I'm not going to saturate this thing, I'm just going to put a light dusting of it over the whole thing. And that should help hold all those little pieces together. Here is our completed wolf skull, all glued back together. Overall, this thing went back together pretty good, given what we were working with. And you can see there's quite a big hole right through there where the bullet went. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how this guy turned out, and I think it's going to get the effect that the trapper was hoping for.